Hi, I'm Dr. Ginny Muley, and I'm the Senior Medical Director at Emancipet. I'm here today to talk about spay and neuter surgeries. This is Vet Ed. What exactly is a spay or neuter? Spaying and neutering are both sterilization procedures or gonadectomies. This means that we remove the sex organs to prevent unwanted pregnancies as well as certain hormone-driven conditions. In a spay procedure, we're removing the ovaries and usually the uterus from a female pet, and in a neuter, we're removing the testicles from a male pet. What are the benefits of spaying and neutering my pet? As many people know, spaying a female pet will prevent unwanted pregnancy, but there's also a lot of other health benefits to spaying your pet. One of the more life-threatening ones is a condition called pyometra, which is an infection of the uterus. By spaying your dog, you're completely eliminating the chance that she can get that type of infection. In dogs, 1 out of 5 intact females will have a pyometra by the time she is 10 years old. Additionally, spaying reduces the risk of mammary cancer. 35% of unspayed female dogs will get mammary cancer in their lifetime, and 50% of those dogs will die from the disease. Spaying your dog before she's 2 years old reduces the risk of mammary cancer 4 times. In cats, spaying before the first heat cycle creates a similar reduction in mammary cancer. Neutered male dogs are unable to get females pregnant. Neutering your male dog also prevents benign prostatic hyperplasia, which is just a fancy way of saying an enlarged prostate, and is caused by excess hormones as the dog ages. Both spaying and neutering can prevent behaviors such as roaming or urinary marking associated with sexual behavior. Spaying and neutering your pet can also increase their lifespan. Male dogs who are neutered live an average of 13% longer than their unneutered counterparts. Female dogs who are spayed live an average of 26% longer than their unspayed counterparts. Male cats who are neutered live an average of 62% longer than their unneutered counterparts. And female cats who are spayed live an average of 39% longer than their unspayed counterparts. At what age should I spay and neuter my pet? The recommendation for females is before their first heat, and for males is before they reach sexual maturity. In cats, this means we usually want to spay or neuter them before 4 months of age, and in dogs, between 6 and 12 months. This eliminates the risk of unplanned pregnancy and also provides maximum benefit for cancer prevention. At Emancipet, 3 pounds and 3 months old is the youngest and smallest that we will spay or neuter your pet. At Emancipet, any pet over 7 is considered geriatric. For these pets, we recommend a one-on-one discussion with your veterinarian about whether spaying or neutering is worth the potential risks of anesthesia at their age. This will depend on whether they've been diagnosed with any other disease processes or whether they have any other risk factors for their surgery. Another great reason to spay or neuter your pet young is that they'll have smaller blood vessels in their less developed reproductive tract. This means that pets that are spayed or neutered before sexual maturity often have less pain after surgery and a faster healing time, and it's a much less complicated procedure with fewer risks. Will spaying or neutering affect my pet's personality? The good news is your pet's basic personality will not change. Immediately after surgery, they may be a little bit more drowsy, groggy, or even a little grumpy from all of the medication they received during their procedure. However, this usually resolves within about 48 hours. Some behaviors may change, but these are usually things like marking or roaming looking for a mate, so they're not necessarily bad changes. Another important thing to consider is your pet's food requirements are going to change. After being spayed or neutered, their calorie intake should decrease by about a quarter. How long will it take my pet to heal after a spay or neuter surgery? Most pets are going to need 7 to 10 days of activity restriction, and this usually means wearing a cone or e-collar. The cone of shame shouldn't be shameful at all. It's there to protect your pet from licking their incision or pulling out stitches. These things can cause infections or other potentially serious complications. Everyone has probably experienced a cut that as it was healing got really itchy, and even as people who know that we shouldn't pick the scab, sometimes it's hard to avoid the urge to scratch it. For your dog or cat, They don't know that they're not supposed to do that, and so they're much more likely to traumatize their incision and cause a problem if they're not wearing a cone. If you take your pet's cone off after surgery and they immediately try to lick their incision, that probably means you took it off too early and you should put it back on for a day and then try again to see if they're ready. Can my dog or cat be spayed while they're in heat? Yes, your pet can be spayed while they're in heat. However, some veterinarians may prefer to wait until their heat cycle is over, so it's best to call and ask your vet clinic before scheduling the procedure. Are spaying and neutering dangerous surgeries? Every medical procedure does come with some level of risk. However, these are some of the most commonly performed veterinary surgeries, and so most veterinarians are very comfortable performing them. The risk of complication from these procedures is very low. That's all the time we have for questions today. Remember that spaying or neutering your pet is one of the easiest things you can do to help them live a long and healthy life.
Hello, this is Dr. Ganyu. I am the lead vet at Emancipet Lavender Loop, and I am here to answer questions about itchy pets, and this is Vet Ed. What is making your pet scratch or itch at home? The first thing to know as owners is that it's very common for our dogs or cats to scratch occasionally throughout the day. However, an increase in the intensity, frequency, or irritation to the skin is not normal and often causes the inflammation known as dermatitis. The most common causes of itchiness and dermatitis in our pets are ectoparasites like fleas and mites, skin infections like yeast and bacteria, atopic dermatitis caused by environmental allergens such as pollen, dust, or plants, and finally, food allergies, which can sometimes be due to chicken or some things like wheat. What should I do if my pet scratches or itches excessively? It's a very good question. If your pet has any of the following symptoms, including intensive itch, irritation or reddening of the skin around the eyes, the ears, the feet, the abdomen, or even their interdigital areas, pimples or scabs on their skin, hair loss, or in certain occasions even vomiting or diarrhea, it is very important to take your pet to the veterinary clinic to diagnose and properly treat them. Most causes of itchy skin mentioned previously require immediate and continuous management and will come back if you don't treat the underlying cause. If your pet is up to date on their parasite prevention and continues itching and showing signs of some of the symptoms mentioned previously, your veterinarian will help you determine if the cause can be instead due to atopic dermatitis, skin infection, or even a food allergy. It is essential not to delay your trip to the veterinarian, as pets can scratch vigorously and self-inflict open skin wounds known as hot spots. So hot spots are severe and painful lesions that worsen with time, increasing your pet's itch receptors. More often than not, pets can get generalized skin infections from excessive scratching, thus should be treated immediately. So how can I treat my pet's itchiness at Emancipet or a local vet? Emancipet or your local veterinary clinic will help you determine the most appropriate treatment for your pet. We can prescribe medication against parasites and shampoo for the most common infections. If your pet suffers from allergies, our vets at Emancipet will help guide you and make recommendations on the next steps to keep your pet itch-free all year long. Okay, that's all the time we have for questions today. However, remember, most causes of itchy skin require continuous management and will come back if we don't treat the underlying cause. Have a great day.
Hi, I'm Dr. Henderson. I'm a veterinarian for Emancipet's Windermere Clinic in Pflugerville, Texas. I'm here to answer your questions about heartworms today. This is Vet Ed. What is a heartworm? Is it an actual worm? Heartworms are, in fact, worms. They can cause inflammation in the lungs, obstruct blood flow to the heart, and can cause heart failure over time. How do pets get heartworms? Pets get heartworms from mosquitoes. After the mosquito bites an infected animal, there are a few larval stages the heartworm goes through in the mosquito prior to the mosquito biting a new host. Once the larvae get into the new host, they go through a couple of other life cycles before developing into a mature heartworm. Heartworms can get up to a foot in length. Heartworms cannot spread from pet to pet. A mosquito is required for transmission. Can cats get heartworms? Cats can get heartworms also, even if they live exclusively indoors. If you've ever been in your home and gotten bitten by a mosquito, that can definitely happen to cats too. Although it is less common, cats do develop more severe disease, and it can be more difficult to diagnose. How can I protect my pet from heartworms? You can easily protect your pet by using heartworm prevention. Heartworm prevention is something that has to be prescribed by your veterinarian. We recommend starting heartworm prevention as early as 6 to 8 weeks in kittens and puppies. Heartworm prevention is extremely well tolerated in pets. You can get heartworm prevention at any of our Emancipet locations with a current examination. Even if you have missed doses or you're not sure if your pet is up to date on heartworm prevention, our staff can ensure that you get the products that you need to make sure that your pets stay heartworm free moving forward. How is heartworm treated? Dogs who test positive for heartworms should be treated as soon as possible to reduce damage to the heart, lungs, and other important organs. Your veterinarian will likely put your dog on exercise restriction, start heartworm prevention to prevent any new infections from happening, and start supportive medications prior to starting an injectable protocol. The injectable treatment process typically takes about 3 months to complete. Your veterinarian will want to retest your pet to make sure that they're heartworm negative after they've completed the treatment. Until the treatment is completed successfully, the heartworms can continue to cause damage in the body. Unfortunately, there is no safe treatment for heartworms in cats at this time. The injectable treatments that are approved in dogs are toxic to cats. Should your cat be heartworm positive and exhibiting signs, your veterinarian can prescribe medications to help alleviate those signs in your cat. Because there is no treatment in cats, we typically have to wait for those worms to die naturally, which can take a couple of years to occur. But cats living with heartworm disease can be at risk for sudden death. Therefore, it's significantly easier to prevent heartworm infections in cats by giving monthly heartworm prevention. How do I know when heartworm treatment has worked? After the treatment has been completed, your veterinarian will likely want to retest your pet to make sure that they're heartworm negative. Continuing heartworm prevention year-round will make sure that your pet remains heartworm negative. That's all the time we have for questions today. Remember, if heartworms go untreated, they can be up to 100% fatal in some cases. It's so much easier and more affordable to provide heartworm prevention for your pets instead of putting them through a lengthy treatment process.
I'm Dr. Holly Putnam, and I'm the Chief Medical Officer for Emancipet. Today I'm going to answer some questions on how to keep your dogs and cats safe during our cold weather months. This is Vetted. What are the dangers of severely cold weather to our pets? Well, the two biggest dangers that we need to think about are hypothermia and frostbite. Hypothermia is when the body temperature of a dog or cat drops to a dangerous level. If it goes unchecked, the pet can actually pass away from being too cold. Frostbite is exactly what it means for people, and that's where the tissue becomes so severely damaged from exposure to extreme cold that it could result in permanent disfigurement. Two temperatures that I want everyone to remember are 45 degrees Fahrenheit and 32 degrees Fahrenheit. 45 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature that most preschools use to help determine what is safe for kids to play outside for an extended period of time. And you might notice as you're traveling down the road, or if you live in a rural area, that's often the temperature where you'll start to see blankets on horses and goats and potbelly pigs as you're traveling by. Some dogs and cats are more sensitive to cold temperatures below 45 degrees. So you may want to think about providing some sort of shelter for them, particularly if they sleep outside. While 32 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature that water freezes, and we need to keep that in mind because their water and food sources, if located outside, are most likely going to freeze. And we want to make sure that we're able to either defrost the food and water or provide them with fresh food and water so that they can drink and eat. If I have an indoor-outdoor or fully outdoor cat, is it okay for them to be outside? The short answer is yes, it is okay for a cat to be outdoors, and they need adequate shelter and access to food and water. So it's very important that as the temperature drops below 45 degrees, and particularly below freezing at 32 degrees Fahrenheit, cats have access to an area where they can get away from the cold weather and particularly the wind. Should I put my dog or cat in coats and boots? How can I protect them on walks? If your dog or cat will tolerate a coat and boots safely, then that is definitely appropriate to put on them. However, there are many dogs and cats that will not tolerate that, and in that case, what you'll want to do is keep a close eye on them while you're taking your walk. A good rule of thumb is that if it's cold for people, it's cold for dogs and cats. So keep a close eye on them. If you see them starting to shiver, if they start to lift a paw in the air, or they stop moving, those are all signs that it might be too cold and it's time to turn back. What should I do if I find a stray in the cold? Well, this is a really good reminder that dogs and cats will naturally try to find protection from the elements. And one thing we need to really remember is that cats will often be drawn to vehicles for protection. And what that means is they may climb up into the engine of the car, under a hood, or try to fit between the tire and the rest of the car. So it's really important in cold weather temperatures to go ahead and tap or really bang on the hood of the car to try to get their attention and to at least make some sort of vocalization so that you know they're there. If you do happen to find a stray out in the cold temperatures, you can safely handle the dog or cat, go ahead and bring it inside your home, your garage, even your car to get it out of the elements. And then the next step would be to call your local animal control officer. Should I be feeding my pets more in the winter for extra protection? If your dog or cat lives primarily indoors, the answer to this question is no. They should be just fine with the normal amount of food that you feed. But if your dog or cat lives primarily outdoors, then yes, you may want to go ahead and feed them a little bit extra. A good rule of thumb is to feed about a quarter more than what's recommended on the back of the pet food bag. An important thing to remember though is you'll want to watch them and keep an eye on their weight and make sure that you're feeding the appropriate amount. If they look like they're gaining some weight, go ahead and back off of that amount. If they look like they're losing weight, you may want to increase the amount. How could I care for my pet's paws during the winter? Some dogs and cats may experience some irritation on their paws during cold weather months, particularly in the Northeast, where salting of roads is very common. So one thing you may want to think about is rinsing or at least wiping your dogs and cats' paws when they come in from the outside to remove any salt. If you're starting to see that their paws are becoming excessively red or they begin to be a little bit tender when you go to touch them, that may be an indication that they need intervention by a veterinarian and you want to schedule an appointment with your veterinarian. What should I put in my emergency preparedness kit, such as if the power or water is shut off? This is something that you'll want to think about just like you would for yourself and your family. So you'll want to think about the need for water and food and maintaining their body temperature. So it's a great idea to have extra water that is bottled if possible, some food that will not freeze or an area that it can be warmed up in. And then think about adding extra blankets and extra bedding or spending a lot of time snuggling your dogs and cats because your own body temperature and their body temperature can help keep each other warm. That's all the time we have for questions today. When in doubt, remember that if you're cold, your pets are cold.
Hi, this is Dr. Radhika Stanu, and I'm the lead veterinarian at Emancipet in Colleen. Today, I'm going to answer some questions about pet dental health. This is Vet Ed. What are some common dental issues pets may have? Well, just like humans, pets can also develop tartar on their teeth, which can cause gum inflammation as well as disease under the gum line. Eventually, this can lead to dental pain and infection, as well as loss of the bony tissue that keeps the tooth in place in the mouth. Is teeth brushing effective? Yes, brushing your pet's teeth is the most effective way to prevent dental disease and tartar buildup. Pet stores commonly carry toothbrush kits for pets that contain a toothbrush and toothpaste that is appealing to most pets, such as beef or chicken flavor. You can even use regular toothbrushes for people for pets. For larger dogs, you can use normal adult-sized human toothbrushes, and for smaller dogs and cats, you can even use toddler-sized human toothbrushes. Some people find finger brushes to be easier to use than toothbrushes with handles. The sooner you start introducing toothbrushing to pets, the sooner they will get used to their routine. Around 8 weeks of age is a good age to start. Tartar takes about 36 hours to harden on the teeth, so brushing the teeth at least every other day is a good practice. Do dental treats actually work? Dental treats do work to scrape the tartar off of teeth when it isn't possible to brush your pet's teeth or when you're not able to brush them as often as you would like. A good rule of thumb for choosing dental treats is to look for the VOHC seal on the bag of treats. This stands for Veterinary Oral Health Council. How do I take care of my cat's teeth? Just like dogs, cats also benefit from having their teeth brushed at least every other day. If this is not possible, or if you're not able to brush your cat's teeth as often as you would like, I would look for cat dental treats with the VOHC seal on them. How can I maintain clean teeth when my pet won't chew on dental treats or let me brush? Some pets are picky about which dental chews they prefer, so you might have to try a few different kinds to find one they like. You may also need to try different flavors of toothpaste, such as beef versus chicken or liver, as well as different kinds of toothbrushes, such as one with a handle versus a finger brush, to make the routine smoother for you and your pet. Most pets are motivated by training treats, so when trying to introduce a new behavior such as toothbrushing, it can be helpful to reinforce their cooperation by giving them delicious treats as well as offering them lots of praise when they cooperate with the toothbrushing. Be consistent and keep the training sessions short to only a few minutes per day, and stay upbeat and positive. Is soft or hard food better for my pet's teeth? So in the past, it was thought that hard food was better for a pet's teeth. Now we know that it's mostly a combination of genetics and dental hygiene that determines how quickly pets build up tartar on their teeth. I recommend feeding dogs a mix of wet and dry food, and I recommend feeding cats a mainly canned food diet to help maintain a healthy weight and to prevent urinary tract problems. How do I know when my pet just needs a cleaning rather than an extraction? It isn't usually possible to tell whether a tooth needs to be extracted just by looking in a pet's mouth. This is because most of the tooth is actually under the gum line, and so x-rays need to be performed to see whether there's any loss of bone or signs of infection, which would be reasons for the teeth to need to be extracted. What dental services does Emancipet provide? We provide comprehensive oral health assessment and treatments, also known as dental cleanings. During this procedure, we place a pet under anesthesia, take x-rays of their teeth, do complete cleaning and polishing of each tooth. We probe each tooth to identify pockets of bone loss, as well as extract any teeth that are shown to have any pockets of infection of bone loss on the x-rays. Currently, our dental cleanings are only provided at the Norwood Park Boulevard location in Central Austin, but we hope to be able to expand the service very soon. That's all the time we have for questions today. Remember, pets' teeth need care just like our own teeth do.
Hi, I'm Dr. Evelyn Mackay, the lead veterinarian at Emancipet Northwest Freeway in Houston, Texas, and I'm here to talk to you today about how to keep your pets safe in the heat. This is Vet Ed. Okay, what dangers can extremely hot weather have on pets? Hot weather can be very dangerous for our pets. There's no single temperature that becomes dangerous. It's going to depend on individual animal factors and other environmental factors as well, such as high humidity, which we often experience in Houston, Texas. If you're outside and you're starting to feel uncomfortable, your pets may be uncomfortable as well. Even if you are outside in warm weather and it feels comfortable, you should always be aware that pets may have to walk on hot surfaces. Pavement can be a source of burns to our pets' feet. So before you take your pet out on a walk on a hot day, make sure you take the back of your hand and feel the pavement and make sure it's comfortable for you to have your hand there for a few seconds. It's also important never to leave your pets unattended in hot weather, especially in a car. When inside of a vehicle, the temperature can quickly rise above the normal air temperature and that heat will intensify, and signs of heat stroke can rapidly develop in your pets. What is heat stroke and what are its symptoms? Heat stroke is when the body temperature of an animal rises above normal temperature for an extended period of time. It will be there for long enough to cause organ dysfunction and organ damage. Initial signs of heat stroke may include panting, labored breathing, anxiety. As it progresses, you may see signs of stumbling, confusion, seizures, or even coma. If you suspect that your pet has become overheated, please immediately seek care from a veterinarian. Do not try to rapidly cool your pet with ice or by giving them any additional medications. Seek out a veterinarian immediately and remove them from the hot environment. Are certain cats and dogs more vulnerable to heat? Absolutely. Individual animal factors play a huge role in susceptibility to high temperatures and heat stress. Dogs that are not acclimated to outside temperatures or hotter weather are more likely to develop clinical signs of heat stroke, as well as pets that are overweight or have a larger body condition. There are certain breeds that are especially more prone. The flat-faced dogs and cats, such as French bulldogs, English bulldogs, or our Persian cats, are going to be more susceptible to heat stroke. And this is because dogs largely cool themselves by panting. And these animals have a flatter face and smaller airway, which makes it difficult to cool themselves in hot weather. Similarly, other pets with respiratory disorders and upper airway disease may be more prone to overheating. Are there any tips and tricks to keeping my pet cool this summer? For sure. Scheduling walks and playtime to being either early in the morning or later in the evening when the temperatures are coolest is ideal. When you have really active dogs who want to run and play outside, trying to force them to take frequent breaks and keeping a close eye on their breathing and activity level can go a long way to preventing heat stroke. Additionally, you can try doing some fun things like having a kiddie pool out, a sprinkler, or having supervised time in small ponds. Flat-faced dogs should never be left alone outside unattended, and any dog that spends significant periods of time outside should always have access to clean, fresh water. We hope that your pets enjoy their summer.